overrun by thoughts. If you haven't already subscribed to my channel, click the button on the bottom right and click the notifications bell, and then you'll be informed when I upload new content. So how often are we overrun by thoughts, overwhelmed by them, buried in them, lost in them? In psychoanalytical terms, they're often called intrusive thoughts. These are the thoughts that we wish we didn't think and could let go of, but can't seem to be able to. And this is where working in the transpersonal with clients allows one potentially to transcend that human condition, the human condition of suffering within one's own skull, so to speak. We seem to be a prisoner within our own mind and seem to be drawn to and attracted to thoughts that are unhealthy, damaging and toxic, thoughts that at the very least don't bring us any positivity. So I'd like you to imagine a dark, windowless room, and in that room there is a large table, glass-topped, and under the table is a very powerful, bright, white uplighter, sending rays of light through from under the table, through the glass, into the room. But on top of the table there is another large transparent box filled with multicoloured marbles. The marbles are 10 deep, and so the light that we would like to see, the pure, bright, white, unfiltered light, is then filtered through this box of multicoloured marbles, sending all sorts of different colours up into the room. But we want to experience the pure, unfiltered light, not the light filtered through the brightly coloured marbles that grab our attention, but the pure source. And so we part the marbles. Now, the marbles are about 10 deep, so parting them is difficult, but occasionally we get to glimpse the bright white light beneath and sense the source, the unfiltered source. But it's tricky because, of course, as soon as we part the marbles, they backfill the space, covering the bottom of the container and therefore filtering the light once again into the different colours: blues, greens, purples, blacks, browns, yellows. The unfiltered pure light source is the absolute, the I before I am. The marbles, well, they represent our thoughts, and the colours that filter through them grab our attention. So these are the thoughts that we see all the time, often unaware that the only reason the thoughts are there and visible is because of the source. So the marbles are our thoughts, they are the I am, the story in the head, the story of you, the conditioned mind, if you like. And so with practice we keep trying to part the marbles, and over time we start to perfect our technique whereby we can sit with the pure white light source for a little bit longer before the marbles backfill the space. This practice of parting the marbles could be likened to a meditation or contemplation, or trying to find that stillness, some space in the day to try and observe the thoughts rather than become the thoughts. And perhaps what happens over time as the technique improves and you spend more and more time with a white pure light source, unfiltered, is that the container starts to expand. This is analogous to your consciousness expanding. And it expands to a point where the marbles thin out, to the point where they're just single marbles rolling around the bottom of a spacious box. There's still the same number of marbles, of course, but the expanse of the box has increased its surface area so that now they have no chance of filtering that light source, and the light source then can shine through unfiltered. So this is pointing to the fact that perhaps if we enter the still mind on a regular basis, and perhaps we find that space to observe one's thoughts, to look at the brightly coloured marbles but not become them, then they start to have less and less impact upon our lives, and we start to recognise that actually the source of our being is not the marbles and the colours that they give off through the light source, but the source of our being is the light source, the pure, unfiltered, white absolute, the I before I am. Nisargadatta Maharaj was an Indian guru of non-dualism, born in 1897 in Mumbai and died in 1981. And I'd like to just read a couple of quotes from Nisargadatta and tie them into my marble box analogy. I realized my true being. I left my human nature to look after itself until its destiny is exhausted. Occasionally an old reaction, emotion or mental happens in the mind, but it is at once noticed and discarded. After all, as long as one is burdened with a personality, one is exposed to its idiosyncrasies and habits. Investigate the I am in search of the state of timeless perfection to which nothing can be added, from which nothing can be taken away. In it all desires and fears are absent, not because they were given up, but because they have lost their meaning. And so we can't ignore our thoughts or give up thinking, but we can recognize the stillness that they reside within, and in so doing they lose their meaning. The brightly coloured marbles no longer are your world, grabbing your attention and taking you on down the labyrinths of negative thinking and depressive thoughts. They are seen, but they are seen in isolation, and they are witnessed as occurring inside the stillness, within the empty mind, and you recognize that you are not those thoughts, you are not the brightly coloured marbles, you are the light source that brings them to life, but you are not the thoughts themselves. They are part of our human conditioning, they are part of our self, but we are the eternal absolute, the pure, unfiltered source, the pure light that gives them life, that creates the patterns that grab our attention, and we can recognize that fact. And then in that recognition that we are the absolute, that we are the I before I am, that we are the white light, the pure source before it is filtered through the thoughts, then those thoughts lose their meaning. They're not given up. We do not use our strength of mind to ignore them or replace them with other thoughts. They just lose their power, and that spacious box, the sides expand and the surface area becomes infinite, and those thoughts don't have any power to filter the pure white light source. They're still there. They're still available to see, to witness, to feel, to express, but they've lost their meaning, and therefore they've lost their power to control your life in negative and harmful ways. They are seen through, literally seen through, and then you are left in freedom.